Hey guys, welcome back to Team Slinger. My name is Peter, and today I wanted to take a look at some staple cards for the Digimon TCG. If you have any friends who are getting into the game, if you're a new player and you don't know what to buy to start padding out your collection, these are my recommendations for cards that are going to show up in lots of decks, or just be in really, really powerful decks, and I think that you should be picking up anywhere from 2 to 4 copies of probably each of the cards in this list. Some of them are a little bit more specific for meta decks, some of them are just generally good cards to have for deck building. So starting off, we have all of the training cards. These all do the same thing. They are color based. You're going to reveal top two, add a red card, and then delay effect is going to let you digivolve for a reduced cost of 2. Lots and lots and lots of decks like to run this at 4. If you're building something that's not exactly meta, this is a good way to add some consistency to your deck, speed it up a little bit to help it be a little bit more competitive and less jank. Then the training cards, kind of weaker brother, is the memory boost. Guess I shouldn't say it's weaker. It's just a different application of the idea. Red memory boost, all the colors of memory boost will let you reveal top 4. You can only take a Digimon in that color, and then the delay effect will gain you 2 memory. So these are useful for digging deeper, for Digimon heavy decks, and if you're playing a lot of option cards, or Tamers, the delay effect to gain 2 memory can be useful in that application rather than the delay effect for digivolving for a cheaper cost. So those are still on the list. And then at the bottom here, we have the more useful of the non-standard boosts. So we have Prime Memory Boost. This is specific for black. Reveal top 3, you play a black card with 4 cost or less, and then trash the rest. Delay still gains you 2 memory. This is really useful because in black you will see lots of cards that have cheap play costs, things like Dark Knightmon, the D Brigade archetype, any of the little security Digimon like Chikurimon, Metal Edimon with its Sukamon engine, Numemon engine, all of those can be played out with the Pride Memory Boost, so that is on the list. Then Mist Memory Boost, purple decks lately really like to play with heavy trash, so this will trash top 2 of your deck, draw you 1, and then delay gain you 2. So it's really good for building trash in those purple decks. Then Reinforcing Memory Boost, it is restricted to 1. It is a 6 cost, reveal top 2. 1 goes in security, 1 goes in your hand, and delay will gain you 3. So this is really good in just about every yellow deck. If you have an extra deck slot, you can just toss this in. It's basically pay 6 to recover 1 and then gain a memory next turn. So it's really fantastic. Then by color, we're going to start with red. I would recommend that you pick up some copies of Tai Kamiya. This was printed in the Resurgence Booster, so it's really cheap. A lot of these cards will be printed in Resurgence Booster, so if you're a new player, that is definitely a great set to be buying from. But it's going to be a memory setter, so it'll set you to 3 every turn, and if you have a red Digimon with 4 more sources, you're going to gain security +1. So a really solid memory setter for red, so that's why I recommend it. Then Crimson Blaze. Lots of the meta is heavy with playing Digimon by effects, so picking up some copies of Crimson Blaze is definitely my recommendation. It's going to help you kind of keep those decks under control, and it can be put in lots and lots of red decks as a 2 of to help you kind of deal with that. I like to recommend Gurimon to new players because it is cheap. It can be run instead of Koromon in lots of Greymon decks because it is DP locked instead of name locked like Greymon, Omnimon, anything like that. And if you're not playing Greymon, this is a great draw egg for any other red deck. Unless you're playing, I guess, Gallantmon, you would run the Gigimon, but I like this egg a lot as a generic red draw egg. Then I have Trident Gaia. This is kind of just a better Gaia Force in my opinion. You pop the highest DP Digimon. If it had 13k or more, you trash the top of your opponent's security. If you're into running security bombs, this is great. If you're new to the game and you don't know much about deck building, optimizing, anything like that, you're not into like teching in cards for the meta or something like that, just throw Gaia Forces, Trident Gaia, hard removal. If somebody hits it in security, they're going to have a bad time, and that can win you games a lot of the time. So I'm not against recommending expensive removal cards for new players. And then lastly, I would recommend the generic Security +1 Greymon. The reason I recommend this is because it did get a reprint from the RBL1 set, and it is generic Security +1. So this is not locked to the Greymon archetype, so this can go under things like Dobermon. You can splash it into other red decks and still get that Security +1. So that is my recommendation for red. For blue, we go with Davis Motomiya. It's going to be a memory setter, so it's going to give you 3 memory, and on play, it's just going to search top 3 and add a blue and 1 green Digimon card. We normally play this just to grab the blue Digimon, unless you're playing Imperial, and then the rest go bottom deck. So this is just a memory setter that searches top 3 for a Digimon. With the trainings and the memory boost, this is used a lot less than it used to be, but I still think it's worth picking up if you want a reliable blue memory setter. Ice Wall is restricted to 1. It's very cheap. It's great to pick up for new players. if you hit it in security, you're going to gain 2 memory, and it just gives all of your opponent's Digimon, when attacking, lose 2 memory till the end of their next turn. So it's a good way to just stall out for a turn. Next, Zudomon Ace. I think this is a card that we'll be seeing play for a while. It's a good generic blue Blastace card. It goes in a lot of decks because it'll wind up returning a card to hand a lot of the time. So it's worth picking up a couple copies and sitting on them, or throwing them in your blue decks when you don't have a better level 5 to throw in, or if you need a little bit of board control for your blue deck, then I would definitely recommend this. Kakaida's Breath also got an RBO1 reprint. I recommend it for the same reason I recommend the Gaia Force Zero. It's just going to return a Digimon to hand, and it's just great if you hit it in security. It's great for new players to just kind of slot in if they don't have anything else to run. And then we have Hammer Sparks. People don't run this too much anymore. I still think it's a good card. It's just typically hard to fit with the way engines work nowadays. You just have a full deck of cards that you want to play with anyways. But it's just on play going to give you 2 memory for 0. So it's a play extender, and it's definitely worth playing if you have nothing else to play. If you're a new player padding out your collection, you don't have the money to spend on something maybe a little bit better, Hammer Spark, why not? For yellow, most of what we have are vaccine engine cards because vaccine is here to stay. It is going to be the premier way to play yellow for probably the foreseeable future. So I would recommend the Memory Setter TK. It'll set you to 3 memory, and then you're going to search your security, reveal a card, add it to hand. If it's a yellow card, you recover 1. So that's fantastic. We have the BT14 Patamon. These will search your security at the start of main. You get to Digivolve into a vaccine without paying the cost. Shuffle your security and then place a yellow vaccine at the bottom of your security. So this is security manipulation. It's really good. It works with all the yellow vaccine cards. And this is probably going to be a staple for yellow decks for a long time. Then BT14 Magna Angemon. This is also really good. It's a blast card, and then when digivolving, if you have 5 or less security, you're going to recover 1. And for each of your security, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1k. So potentially you're going to be giving somebody minus 6k if you have 5 security when you play this. So this is a really great card. Emissary of Hope. There's kind of a theme here, lots of BT14 cards. Search your security, one of your Digimon digivolves into a level 6 or lower vaccine card, and then you shuffle your security, and if you have TK, you get to recover 1. So this is great if you get the Patamon, you go into a level 4, you get Emissary if you have the TK, and then you go into a 5, and you've effectively paid 1 to go from a 3 to a 5, which is really strong. And then I would recommend the BT13 Geogreymon. This is restricted to 1 because it plays Tamers out of security, which is really, really strong. In Vaccine, you're typically a little bit heavy on Tamers, so if you can get the Patamon into this, play Tamer out of security, and then Blast Ace on your opponent's turn, and then use an Emissary to get into a level 6, you have paid effectively 1 to go from a level 3 to a level 6, which is really strong. So if you're going to be playing yellow, definitely pick up some copies of this card for your various decks. For green, we are running, well, I guess we're not running, but I'm recommending the RBO1 reprint of BT1 Mimi. It is a memory setter, and if you have a level 5 or higher green Digimon, you get to suspend this to hatch an egg, or move a level 3 or higher Digimon from breeding to battle. Green digivolves really, really cheaply. It builds stacks really fast, and so this is a great card to establish more board presence by pushing eggs out of raising really quickly, or hatching more eggs so that you can digivolve another stack in the back and maintain pressure. If they deal with your stack on the board, you can always potentially have another stack ready to go on your next turn. So this is really, really great for generic green decks. Then I recommend BT14 Palmon. I think this is a fantastic rookie for most green decks. The Inheritable is really great if you have a green Tamer, you digivolve for 1 less, and then the start of main is also really great because it's a single Digimon Ice Wall. So if your opponent suspends the Digimon, they lose 2 memory. Additionally, in green, we have ways to suspend the opponent's Digimon, so that effect can also be used for us to extend our plays by suspending their Digimon with this effect. HPD, great card. It's restricted to 1 because it is so powerful. You can just pay 0 to suspend your own Digimon and then reduce the cost of digivolving that Digimon by 5. So effectively anything you would want to digivolve into, you can digivolve for free by suspending your own Digimon, which I quite like. I would recommend BT14 Lilymon Ace. When digivolving, you're just going to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and then bottom deck a 5k or less. This is just generically strong. Like I said, green likes to suspend your opponent's Digimon, so this in conjunction with that Palmon is a great combo. And lastly, I would recommend Quartzmon as a top end for green. This card is starting to get a little bit more expensive, but it is good in green, just period. It shuts down lots of wideboard decks. It's going to trash lots of security. It is probably one of the best lockdown cards we have in the game, and I don't think you can go wrong throwing a copy or 2 of this into most green decks that don't have a level 7 that they want to play. For black, we're going to go with Izzy. It's a memory setter. You effectively play it for 3, but it lets you manipulate the top 3 cards of your deck, which is fantastic because nothing's better than knowing what the next 3 cards you're going to draw are and drawing them in the order that you want them. I would recommend the Pagumon egg. I think this is still the best black egg. There's not much that kind of beats it out at the moment, so you should definitely grab your copies if you're going to be playing black. Security Chikurimon is a good generic level 4 that I put in more decks than I probably should, just because the security effect is disgusting. It is nasty. And if you're playing black, you're probably playing lots of cards that like to play out lower cost cards, and this can just be played for free on lots of things. Then I recommend DG Dimension. Same reason as the Kaitis Breath, the Gaia Force for new players. Having a big bomb that does something impactful can be really helpful. So this is going to de-digivolve 1 on 3 of your opponent's Digimon and delete 3 of your opponent's Digimon with play cost 6 or less. So you could potentially bring a Mega down to a Rookie and pop it, or pop multiple bodies on the board depending on what kind of de-digivolution you get to go through with. Lastly, Death Exmon. This is an expensive card. This is like $50 at the moment, but it is so impactful and so powerful, and lots of decks run it at 1. Because you get to reduce its play cost by 3 for each of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, and then it's going to de-digivolve 1 on everything on play, and delete all of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. And then at the end of your opponent's turn, it's going to delete all of your opponent's Digimon at the lowest play cost. So if this shuts down a wide board and leaves them with 1 body, they're forced next turn to either play another body or accept that they're going to lose their stack, or remove this. So it kind of puts your opponent in a position where they have to respond in a meaningful way. Otherwise, they're going to lose the game or fall behind just really far. They're going to lose all of their tempo. So I recommend you buy at least a copy of this card if you can before it goes back up in price. It's just really fantastic. For purple, we have Matt Ishida. Purple right now really likes to discard their own cards. So this is a memory setter that will gain you a memory when you pitch a card from your hand. So this is a good generic memory setter to have for purple. Then ST16 Gabumon. Start a main. If your opponent has a Digimon, you gain a memory, which happens quite frequently. And then this is our premier draw engine in purple. The whole Gabumon line is really good for drawing cards in purple. But I recommend the Gabumon line because the rookies are usually easiest to slot in for any deck because they have less specific effects typically. So this inheritable will let you draw 1, trash 1, and paired with the mat, that's really good. Then 1 copy of Calling from the Darkness. This is restricted to 1 because it is so good. You can delete 1 of your Digimon to return up to 2 purple Digimons from trash to hand. I feel like an underrated part of this card is its ability to be a self-sack outlet. I play a lot of Minervamon, and this is a great card to pop your Minervamon, get more bodies on board, and recur pieces that you want back. This effect also, if you have no Digimon on board, you can still use this card and just grab 2 purple Digimon from trash. So this is a great card to kind of bail you out of a really bad spot. So I definitely recommend you grab a copy or 2. Then I recommend Lucamon Chaos Mode. Lots and lots and lots of purple decks right now play from trash. This is a good card to play from trash so that you can pop a Tamer or pop a level 6 or lower. There's not a lot of Tamer hate in the game right now, and being able to pop a Tamer is extremely impactful sometimes. Then I also recommend Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. Everybody loves this card or hates this card. When digivolving and on deletion, your opponent's board gets a blanket -5k effect, potentially -10k if you get to digivolve and swing in the same turn. And that means if they promote a Digimon that does not meet the DP threshold, it's going to be deleted as soon as it's promoted, so your opponent cannot play the game. So that's really, really strong. And end of attack, you're going to delete this Digimon and 1 of your opponent's Digimon, recover 1, and hatch an egg. So ideally, you'd be popping whatever level 6 they have on board and then giving blanket -10k so that they can't promote and build another stack. So this is a extremely powerful card. It is on the expensive side. If you have the money for one, I recommend you grab a copy and just use it in your favorite deck. It's really good. There's lots and lots of purple decks where you can just throw this in at 1 and it'll save your bacon. Lastly, I want to talk about white cards. There are a few worth grabbing. Blitz Omnimon. It goes on top of a red or blue. When digivolving, you blitz and you unsuspend. So this is a good way to finish the game. And it does have immunity if you remove a level 6 source from this card. So you can stop yourself from dying to an effect, which is really strong. And this card is dirt cheap because it got reprinted in RBO1. So definitely grab a couple copies. I usually run it at 2 in the decks that do like it. Next, Analog Youth. This is more for purple than anything else, but reveals top 3, you add a Digimon to hand and trash the rest. And when a level 5 or higher is popped, you can tap this to gain a memory and hatch an egg. So this is just a great card for purple. It likes to play from trash, like I said, so it's a good way to build trash and find your pieces at the same time. Then we have the whole X antibody shenanigans that exist in this game. With Cool Boy, you can look at top 3 cards of your deck, add a Digimon with X antibody, and the option X antibody, place the rest of the bottom deck. And then the really, really powerful part of this card is when a Digimon digivolves into a same level X antibody, you can suspend to gain a memory and draw 1. So typically, X antibody cards digivolve for 0 or 1. So when you have this on board, you're changing that to either gaining a memory and drawing an extra card, or you're paying 0 and then drawing an extra card. So this is really strong for 2 memory. You almost always make your memory investment back on it, and cards that want to dig for X antibody really love this in their deck. So I recommend it. Then the actual X antibody option, if you are playing an X antibody deck, you do need this. The important part of this card is when attacking, you digivolve into a Digimon card with X antibody in its traits for its digivolution cost. So if you do not have the memory to digivolve and then swing into your X antibody card, you can swing and then digivolve into your X antibody card, activate your when digivolving, get your when attackings, all of that, and do a combo you wouldn't ordinarily be able to do. So this is very, very strong and worth grabbing your copies of. Lastly, Chimeramon. This card is getting up there in price. It does see gameplay in a couple of decks right now, Lugumon specifically. And basically, you can DNA this on 2 level 4s, and you get a free level 5. So the most practical application of this is that Digimon, when they DNA into a new Digimon, lose all of their previous effects. So if you have 2 Digimon with Summoning Sickness, and you DNA them into Chimeramon, you no longer have Summoning Sickness, kind of like a pseudo rush effect, and you can swing for game with this. So this is just a fantastic card to get a free Evo into a level 5. So I recommend you grab a copy or 2 to throw into any decks that might benefit from this. So that is my list of cards that I would recommend to new players to either look into buying, start buying, anything like that. I think if you have a good chunk of these cards, you're set to start building decks in these colors. And yeah, that's about it. Let me know what you guys think. I know I missed things like hybrids. Hybrids are great, but there's just too many to add to this list. There's all of the memory blockers and floodgates. Those are also great to recommend. But aside from those and this list, I feel like everything starts to get into really archetype-specific cards. So that's all I got. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of that good business. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.